we go. Igator, P. umbreno quidam. This is the dative form of umbrenus. Quidam's the pronoun to a certain P. umbrius. He gave this negotium, which can be trouble or business. So it looks like, as we know, Lentulus is in Rome, as directed by Catilinae. He has given this business to a certain guy in the dative here, utai. We'll take that as a so that he would inquire or seek out the legatos alabrogum, the legates of the alabrogs, their delegates, and si possit, if it's possible, if he's possible to do it, impel at them or compel them, ad societatem belli, to some alliance of war, or into an alliance of war. Exist two mans, the nominative present participle. We see the you there that Sallust uses a lot. And he was thinking, singular, publicae and privatem, public and private, aer alios, which as we see is bronze of others, which means debts. So this singular person, he's thinking that these plural people are being crushed by public and private debt and praetorian quad, and besides, because the natura gens Gallica, because the nature of the Gallic gens, or their race, is bellicosa, which is warlike, that facilely, easily, these to such concilium is posse to educi, which means he thought it would be easy to lead these people, these eos, easily to such a concilium, into such a plan. And we see the E is the neuter form, going with concilium. Male and female have the IS. So that's such a plan or such a desire or implementing what he was carrying out. Okay, so umbrenus now is in the nominative. Okay, and we know that this plan to try and get them into was to impel them or compel them into an alliance of war. And umbellus, quad, because in Gallica negotiatus erat, because he was in Gaul. This is the opponent, negotio means doing business. It's also used for bankers. Plerusque principus civitatum notus erat. So he was known to many of these principals, these leaders of the state, at qui, and he knew eos. So it's a two-way street. He was known by many of these leaders, and he knew them. Itaque, and so, sine mora, without delay, ubi primum, when first legatos in foro conspexit, when he first caught sight of the delegates, the legates in the forum, hypercontatus, which means making inquiries, porca, they're male, so this would indicate with a few words or a few questions maybe. De statu civitatis, concerning the state of their civitatis, which would be the country, the region of Gallia, Gaul, and quasi as if dolens, here he is, as if he's grieving, eos casum, its state or its case, he copit requiri, which copit takes the infinitive. He began to make an inquiry, ask some questions again, per conatus and requiri, both taking inquiries of quem, what was the exitum, what was the outcome, tantus malus sperant, so here's the verb, what was the outcome they were hoping for with such malus, which means troubles basically. Postquam, after illos videt, after he saw those people, they're in the accusative, this is a head verb, video means it's going to take the infinitive, so after he saw them complaining, de averrotia, about the greed magistratum, which is the third plural genitive. After he saw them complaining about the avarice, or greed of the magistrates, and he saw them accusare the Senate, blaming the Senate, because in Eo, in this Senate, there had been nihil esset of auxiliary. There had been no help from the Senate. Misera suis, to their miseries, and they were expectorating the remedium for their miseries. So they're expecting as a remedy or a treatment for their misery was mortem, singular, which is death. At ego he inquired, But I, he said, vobis to you, si modo, if only, viri esse voltus, you want to be viri, men, ostendem, I shall show you a rationem, some accounting or feasible plan, in which qua tanta ista mala effugius, in which such of the ista mala, such troubles as these, you can effugius, flee from, or he's going to show them a way, if they want to be men, where they can escape such evil to their miseries. Okay, I've got the Duthe 1907 synonym list. Ratio, a general term for any kind of method, manner, or way by which anything may be done. It's free downloads. Haec ubi dixit, these things when he said them, the Allobrogues were adducti, plural, they were led into maxume spem, into great hope, basically, and orare, and they begged Umbrenus, so that miseritor sui, that they would be pitied. So this is dative, meaning them. So they begged Umbrenus that he should take pity on them. He's given them hope. Nihil tam asperum, nothing is so harsh, neque tam so difficile esse. So nothing so asperum, harsh, nothing is so difficult, quod that non cupidissimi, they would not desire to facturi essent, that they wouldn't desire to do it. Dum, while ires, their republic, would be liberated from area aliens. So I'll take this dum as a provided that. So nothing would be, nothing was too harsh or too difficult that they would decide to do it if it would liberaret their civitatem from debt, arealio. So 5, illi, he, Umbrenus, eos in domum de bruti perducated. So he led them, eos is them, into the domen, which is the house of Brutus, Decimus Brutus. The D stands for Decimus. All these Romans have got a little initial. There's only a few of them. Because proprinqua foro. Proprinqua means close to, and it takes a dative usually, so that's forums in the dative. And neither was this place aliena for council on account of Sempronius. Lobes unsuitable for alien there. Nam tum, for then Brutus ab Roma aberrat. For Brutus at the time was aberrat, which means absum. He was away from Rome. It's got a little preposition there. Any ablative doesn't necessarily need a preposition. Praeterea. So besides this, he accessided Gabinum. So he summoned Gabinus, quo, this is going to be an ut because there's a comparative next to it, so that in esset of the sermo, so that there should be in this sermon or conversation, there would be maior authoritas. So he summoned this guy to be present at this meeting so that it would have more authority, more, that'll do. Okay, ablative absolute, eo presente. So with this guy, Gabinus, present, he's a member of the equestrian order, apparet, he made open the Coniuration, the conspiracy. He nominated Socius, so he named the allies, and besides this, multos, many inoxis, this was the daily dictionary word yesterday, which literally means they haven't harmed anyone and no one's harmed them, so many people who were innocent of this crime, of cuis qui generis, of different types of gens, different types of levels in society maybe. Quo, it's probably another comparative, there's the comparative, so that there would be amplia animus, which is usually a courage or something, so there would be more courage inspired to the legatos, these delegates which we were at the meeting. Deinde, then eos polikatos, perfect participle, then having made promises to them, he dismissed them home. He sent them home the promises included suam operam, so he would offer them services, which the Loeb says he looked after their interests in Rome. So that's probably what's going on. Okay, 41. Said Allobroges, but the Allobroges, DUI, for a long time, they had an uncertainty. So in English, we might want to pacify that. They were having some uncertainty or something like that. Quid nam concili caperit, of what type of plan they would caperate, which they would take. In altera part, in one side or one party, there was the debt, the studium belli, the zeal or desire of war, the magna merx, in spei of victory, there'd be great profits in their hope of victory, genitive. In alter, so we have correlatives, this alter and this alter are the correlatives. But on the other, there was more resources. There was a tutor concilia, safe plan, safe course of action. And in pro incerta, instead of uncertainty, there would be a certa spei. There'd be certain hope instead of this uncertainty of premia, which is the rewards for sticking with Rome. Haec, these things, illis volventibus, while these people were rolling this over, in their heads of course, tandem at last, the fortuna republic, the fortune of the republic, or the fate of the republic, vincat, it won, it prevailed. Itaque, and so accordingly, Fabio Senga, this is a perfect example of the dative. In the second, it goes O, and in the first, it goes AE, so you can identify it with names like this. And so, to Fabius Senga, of who, and still sticking with the dative there, of who their civitas, their state or their country, would use plurum a lot, utor takes the ablative. So, and to this guy who was used greatly by this city, or as a patron, patrocini, the rem omnem, which is the entire matter, all the matter, utai cogniverit, as they cogniverit it, as they knew it, they aperiented, they opened up this whole matter as they knew it to their patron, Fabius Senga. Cicero, per sengam, pretty much the same thing in English. Here we have an ablative absolute. Cognito concilio. So Cicero, when he knew this plan, through Senga, he precepted dative to the legates. Precepts are instructions, so he gave instructions to these legates so that, ut, vehemently, it's pretty much the same in English, we have a vehemently, they would have studium of the conspiracy, that they would vehemently have desire and zeal for the conspiracy, but simulant, they would be simulating a studium for the conspiracy, and that they would adio, which means go up to Ceteros, go up to the others, and nt we see is plural, and they would promise and dent operam and give them lots of attention, or promise them well and pay attention to them, utai, so that eos, these, quae maxubi, as many as possible, they should have manifestos openly. So they would get as many of these people, they would have manifests who would be taking part in the conspiracy. So that's it for the day. The daily dictionary was ratio, which in this, the 1901 Book of Similes by Ogilvy. Ratio is a theory opposed to an exercitio or usus practice. And the screen I had before. Ratio, a general term for any method, manner in which things done. We also have preceptum, which I think we used precepts before for instructions. Rule announced beforehand, etc. So dictionaries and similes are very useful at the end.